Joker issue 5, and this issue is cruel. It is a cruel issue. Why is it cruel, you might ask, dear co-hosts and listeners and viewers around the world? You were thinking about it. You were thinking in your head, why is it cruel? Because it's not what's his face on art, right? It's not.
Yeah,
Is this
that
the
one guy.
Francavilla issue?
Frank, this is yeah. I wasn't. I was looking for the artist. I was forgetting. Not yes, this is a Francavilla issue.
Gillen March was the one.
Gillen March is the one. Yes, that was the name I was looking for. It's not Gillen March. So I got to page 1 of this and went, this looks quite nice. What's going on? What's happening here? And it is a flashback issue. It's you know, there's a reason.
I believe that's the idea. Every handful of issues to give March a break, they are doing a Francavilla flashback issue every so often.
Well, I'm looking forward to the next one.
Pete, make sure you don't get whiplash.
But no, I start this, and not only obviously is it really nice, but Francavilla's style and the way the coloring is in this, which is pretty much all blacks, oranges for Gordon's hair and mustache, but also other things as well.
So it's Francavilla coloring,
and then blues. Yes, but you've got that. But the other thing that goes along with this though is that it actually makes it feel a lot more stylistically like Year One, and given that so much of this book is about Gordon, and it feels like it's meant to be harkening back to Gordon and be a direct kind of continuation of the Gordon character from Year One, this feels far more fitting, and I kind of wish the whole book had this art. If the whole book had this art, then this book would be a force to be reckoned with, because the story has been pretty solid, and the characterization of Gordon has been pretty solid, and then in this art. This is a fantastic issue. That's maybe the best issue of this book so far. And not just because of the art either. The art obviously does add a lot to it. It makes it a very pleasing book to look at. But this issue, it starts off and Gordon's at outside of a building. There's some sort of situation going on with some cops and some armed suspects. And they might wait for backup, but Gordon says, no, screw this, I'm going in. It kind of plays hero in the same way that you think Gordon. Whereas the other cops are like, no, we're waiting for backup. And he ends up diving at a guy and they go out the window. But he's effectively saved a cop's life by doing this, who was lying shot on the floor. And then Harvey Dent shows up, young Harvey Dent. And he's like, hey, here's the cowboy, the hero, jumping around. And for a while here, I'm thinking, okay, this is really solid stuff. It feels like kind of a post-Year One. He's Captain Gordon now. He's working with Harvey Dent. We're doing this stuff. But what the hell does this have to do with Joker so far? So up until this 4th or 5th page, there's not, and it's like, hey, but the perp you got, he squealed about Falcone. There's going to be a Falcone shipment happening in a couple of nights, and we should go do something. Maybe even call that quote unquote friend in. And he's like, yeah, I'll get a message out tomorrow, and it's like, okay, this is all super interesting, but then we go to but there is a brief mention of the Joker where Harvey says that they've decided not to try him. They've declared him insane and therefore unfit, and he's going to go to Arkham. And Gordon's like pissed. So this is the first time they've caught Joker, and he's going to Arkham. And Gordon's pissed about this. He's like, that's not right. He's not crazy. I mean, he's not. And Harvey points out that he's not exactly a sane person. He's like, well, no, he's not. He is something else, but he's not. He's completely aware of what he's doing. He is not someone who is not in control of his actions. And a lot of this issue, what it actually is, because we then have a therapy scene where it's couples counseling. He's there with his wife Barb, and he has to duck out of this meeting as quickly as possible because he wants to go and inspect Arkham. He wants to meet with Jeremiah Arkham. And at this point in time, Arkham is not designed for criminally insane. It's mostly just a hospital for mentally ill people. And there's one guy who's got kind of a reinforced cell, but other than that, there was a character here, Billy Sampson, whose rich brother paid for his fancy cell because he is dangerous. And he's pissed that Joker's in a regular room that's just locked with a key, and there's nothing else about it. And he demands that Joker be moved into this more secure cell. This guy's been drugged up. He's not a danger to anyone. He calls the brother and tries to convince him to like approve this. And Gordon is so concerned about Joker getting out that he actually decides to just on his own stake out the place in his car all night. He tries to call in to the station to get them to send out like some relief, a couple of cops to like keep watch, but the station won't do it because the Joker's where he's supposed to be. There's no concern here. But Gordon recognizes that the Joker's more dangerous than this, and he hears commotion. He runs in. Joker had gotten out of his cell, but he just went to the kitchen and helped himself to some cake. Gordon throws him back into his cell and just gets a seat and just sits across his door and just waits and just makes sure he's not going anywhere. So it's all about just the start of the obsession. The start of the Joker is something else that is in his mind, and Joker talks to him through his little porthole.
Is window?
Yeah, window, I guess. But it's like a little slider.
Yeah.
But and he's like, hey, you're here all by yourself. I've clearly gone to you. I'm clearly in your head, aren't I? I've been in your head since we met. Since I tried to, poison the water supply. Which I love that they've kept that in. By the way, I love that every time we bring up Joker's first like attack on Gotham, it's always the water supply. I like that that's stuck all these years. And basically, when Joker is like ranting, he's talking about, hey, you can take down Falcone. You understand Falcone. You understand Maroni, but you don't understand me and who I am. I'm an anomaly, and you can't understand what I am, and that scares you. And he realizes that he was supposed to like call in Batman for backup. He was supposed to help Harvey, and he rushes out to the car and he tries to call in and say, hey, Harvey, can you hear me on the radio? He's like, I couldn't, I got caught up in something. I didn't reach out to Batman. You're going to have to like, postpone the thing or whatever. And he comes back, and once again, Joker's door's open, and he's gotten back out to the kitchen. He really wants that slice of cake. It's just Joker being mischievous. So he returns again, and Gordon sits there all night, just constantly smoking, with his gun in his hand. He's just this freaked out at the idea that Joker's not properly being contained. And in the morning, Jeremiah Arkham comes in and says, look, the brother approved us to use his cell. He's actually going to renovate a whole wing for the criminally insane. And this, is the start of Arkham Asylum being Arkham Asylum as we know it. So Gordon finally goes home. But when he's driving back, he hears on the radio that Harvey Dent and the team of cops who tried to take on Falcone were ambushed. They knew they were coming. It was a trap. Some of them got killed. And this all happened because Gordon wasn't doing what he said he was going to do, because he wasn't paying attention to the rest of the job. Joker got into his head and he became obsessed with Joker. And this happened as a result. Harvey even says the people who were shot are on you. This is your fault. And Gordon's beating himself up, and the final page of the book, or the final page of the story, is that he goes home and there's a sign saying "Happy Anniversary, Mum and Dad," but the table's like been used, and it's the wine bottle's knocked over. He's not went home for his anniversary dinner, which was set up earlier on in the therapy session. So it's this really great just character study of Gordon dealing with this idea. And I think the fact that Joker's not mentioned at first, and because it starts off being about this other plot, it's kind of one of the things that I love about The Dark Knight, the movie, is the plot's not about the Joker. The plot's about the mob bosses, and the Joker kind of shoehorned his way into it. It's kind of like that in this, where just the idea of the Joker, once Gordon's got the idea that Joker's not secure, that's it. Like, it gets in the way of everything else that he's supposed to be doing in his life. His actual cop work, his family life, his relationship with his wife, which is clearly rocky at this point already. All of it just gets interrupted by his obsession with making sure the Joker is secure. And it just works so well. The art is gorgeous. The ending's perfect. Just sort of hitting home the start of it. And it adds a lot of nice context to the ongoing story in the book as well. So it doesn't just feel like it's just a redundant flashback. And honestly, it's just a really nice kind of set in this time period story for Gordon. I have very little negative to say about this. The art's fantastic. It's a really good Gordon story that relates to Joker, which informs the ongoing story. Joker in this story even says at one point, you wouldn't kill me, Gordon. That's not you. You don't kill people. So even that idea from this early part of the career of Gordon, well, it's not that. I mean, Gordon was a cop for a long time. You know what I mean? The early part of the comic book career of Gordon, is so good. Yeah, honestly, this is a standout issue, which works kind of on its own. Like, if you want to just buy this issue just to read this story, like, you could just read it on its own and it would work.
I believe the idea with these Frank Avila issues is key moments in Gordon's life that the Joker's affects. Obviously, this is the post year one. I don't know if it's the next one or the one after they're doing, what happens after the Killing Joke.
Yeah. Well, the Killing Joke's been heavily mentioned in the present day story already by him.
Yeah.
It would make complete sense to go back to that at some point. But honestly, I would take a Gordon book that just goes through like parts of the timeline like this. It just does, because this was so good that I can't recommend it enough.
And Frank Avila is one of the best artists working today. If you're interested in pulpy,
it's
pulpy dark stuff.
It's so stylish. It is so dark and shadowy, moody. And again, this idea that the art is so singular focused in its tone ties into Gordon being so singular focused in his entire mindset. So all of it just clicks together really well. I highly recommend Joker issue 5. And it's going to hurt when I get Gillen March art in issue 6. That's going to hurt. But
yeah,
this is a roaring success. But that is Joker issue 5. It is a straight up 9 out of 10. Wonderful stuff. Although there is a backup story I should mention. There's a backup story. I'm sorry, Matt. Am I keeping you?
Yes.
Yes.
That was a bad question to ask.
I'll be quick with this. So this is Harper's brother being around more of his boyfriend's friends who start speaking really I don't know, just really severely about Punchline and how much they support her. And he actually maybe starts to think they're going a bit too far and tries to leave. And the boyfriend chases out after him and is like, hey, I should have spoke up. He's a bit extreme. The other guy who was there, I'll do it. I'll never not speak up again. And tries to convince him to stay. Meanwhile, Harper goes to see her father in prison because she wants some intel about what Punchline's up to. And honestly, the biggest fault of this is that the issue ends with Punchline in prison saying they're looking for someone, and we see someone else in the prison called Kelly Ness quivering in fear. And I hate the art in this backup, for the record, because it's really there's a lot of anime eyes there. The art is by Sweeney Boo, who
I believe was on one. I think it was on the Batgirl story in Urban Legends we just had, right? Like the really cartoony one.
Yeah. I have to admit, I don't remember who, because so the name of this character at the end is Kelly Ness, and I feel like I'm supposed to know who this is, and I don't remember. So the name might have been mentioned in the last backup story, but it's kind of hard to remember some of these backup stories. Like, even though I like Punchline and I like generally what it's doing, because there's so little in each one that I got to this last page and I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't know who this is.
It's just Punchline's former friend, so it probably came up in the backup
before. So, yeah, it probably did.
Yeah.
I just.
Yeah.
But so the ending was like,
that's all.
Okay, who's this? All right, never mind then. So the backup's like a 5 because I hated the art and it didn't make much sense to me. But the main story 9 out of 10. I'm all about it.